This is all about why waiting to feel confident before acting is actually slowing your whole business down and causing you a lot of struggles with getting momentum. And I used to do this myself. I used to wait until I felt ready, waiting to feel ready, thinking that I had to be confident before I did things and delaying everything from launching to hiring someone, even to starting to write a book, which I still haven't completely released. Finished it, didn't release it, possibly because I don't feel ready to, but also the fact that I don't believe a thing that I wrote in that book, so I need to write a new one for what I believe in now. But then one question kind of changed all of this kind of thing. And I warn you now, this can be a very quick webinar because it's more about action than what it is about learning. We founders and business owners and entrepreneurs and solopreneurs and whatever you want to call yourself, we face decisions that feel bigger than we are. Every single day, there's something which we feel is bigger than we are, whether it's closing a store, opening a store, starting a website, building an app, learning how to use AI vibe coding, going and starting a new job, even. So do we launch, or do we wait? Do we hire people, or do we just stretch the resources we've already got? Do we raise money? Do we bootstrap? Do we pivot onto something new because it doesn't seem to be working? Or do we persist for another 3 months and your whole stomach churn thing happens, your brain's overthinking, and while you're calling it strategy and seriously thinking it is, it's just really hesitation dressed up as some kind of intelligent process. It's hesitation. That's all it is. It's not strategy. You're not actually thinking it through because you're acting from the crocodile part of your brain, the part of your brain that just reacts and freezes in place if it doesn't know what to do, rather than that free frontal cortex, which is going to give you some kind of intelligent way of working your way through it. It's just hesitation. It's fight or flight, essentially. So what we do think is that confidence comes before the action. Once I feel more confident, I'll do this. Once I know it's going to work, I've got some kind of guarantee it's going to work, then I'll commit. And once I'm sure about this, I'll make the big move, or I just need a little bit more momentum, money, time, whatever it is. That is the complete backward thinking. We don't act because we're ready. We act to become ready. How does that look in real life? Well, if you ask yourself this question, and this is the question I'm saying that changes kind of the whole perspective, is if I had all the confidence in the world, would I do this thing? So sit with that. What are the consequences of sitting with that question? If I had all of the confidence in the world, would I do this thing? What's the answer to that question? Because if it's no, then you're showing there's a big misalignment, which is actually saving you from going down a really bad path. But if the answer is an actual yes, it's showing you that it's fear that's stopping you. And that shows you exactly what you need to do. It's cutting through the kind of noises saying, is this fear or is this desire? Is this anxiety or is this alignment? Is this social pressure from someone else? Or is this my real plan, my real dream, my real ambition? Remember, no simply means that you're misaligned. Yes means that you're afraid. And that fear actually shows you where that direction is to go forward with. So the hidden should is one of these things I picked up in a lot of books, and I particularly picked this one up from a psychologist who I follow online. Trying to remember his name. Yep. Anyway, it's uh Jewel of Knowledge, I think it's called, something like that. Anyway, it's really, really good. I really enjoy watching him, and I watch him every few days. And it's this whole idea of the shoulds that we build into our self-talk and into our conversations and into our proposals of how to move forward with things. I should raise money, I should build a bigger team, I should be on LinkedIn every day, I should scale faster. But whose voice is that? Is that yours? Or is that potential investors, your old boss, your parents, LinkedIn, something that another 13-year-old said in the schoolyard to you back when you were in, gosh, year 7? It's probably not you. It's not you saying you should raise money. Somebody else has convinced you that you should raise money, or that you should be on LinkedIn every day, or should what social media, YouTube, this bloody webinar, all these things are telling you you should, you should, you should, you should. But it's just data. You've got to work out whether that voice aligns with your voice. But if you did have unlimited confidence, and you didn't feel like it wasn't about being ready, would you build that product? Would you build that project? Would you target that specific market that you've never targeted before? Would you take on a partner? Would you take on an investment? If the answer is no, then something is drastically misaligned between what you actually want and what you seem to be building. So you might be building something for yourself to make money, just to pay the bills. You might be building something that's creating generational wealth that's going to pass down to kids, grandkids, and great grandkids. But if you're not aligned with it, you're always going to hit this lack of confidence. People who are seriously aligned are always confident with this stuff. I started up a new office in Brisbane, completely confident with that, knowing it's expensive, but knowing also I'm going to lose money on it for the first 3 to 6 months. But I know it's part of the plan. I expect that to happen. There's no misalignment there. I completely aligned with what the realities are going to be. Confidence comes from action. That's just a simple material thing in life. You take action first, and then the evidence of whether the action worked or didn't work, that evidence follows later. Confidence actually comes down the track. They think about walking. You weren't confident in the walk. You just got up and started to doing it because you were too young to think these things through. You just do it because you watch other people doing it. You do it, you fall down. Okay, you keep doing it. And eventually what happens, you get so confident in your ability to hold yourself up, it no longer becomes a thought. You just keep going. It's not the other way around. A kid doesn't have to become confident before they can walk. They just are driven by this internal urge to walk, so they walk. There's a bit of a confidence loop, I guess. Like we think it's like a linear thing, but it's actually a bit of a loop because you take an action that leads to a shift in who you think you are because you've been provided evidence that that action was the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do. And then you go on with that confidence to do something bigger. And then you take that bigger action and then that shifts your identity. You grow, you stretch, you become more. And as that evidence presents to you that you are in fact more and you can do this thing, then you take the bigger action. The serial entrepreneurs will know all about this. They'd tried one thing, it worked. They went, okay, let's try the next thing. They never just sit on that one thing and just go, well, that's it. I'm not going to do anything else because I completely fluked my way through this. It's just about taking an action, feeling that shift in who you are, seeing the evidence that makes you more confident to take the bigger action or the different action or the action that's in another market or whatever that change or that different thing is. Oh, analysis paralysis, one of my favorite little things because we think it looks like we're being careful and responsible and strategic, but what we're really doing is avoiding feeling uncomfortable. We're avoiding feeling foolish or avoiding some kind of public failure. I literally start a new business every month. I started one this month, training for purpose. Will it work? I'm putting a lot into this one, so I'd say it would. But 11 out of 12 things that I start every year will fail and one will take off. Some years, so like 2023, I had two that sort of took off, and that's great. That was a weirdly successful year. But at some point, what happened is a long time ago, I just made an action that got me more confident to take another action, another action, another action. And when I did fail, those failures, that was one failure against all these successful actions I'd taken before. Not successful businesses, successful actions. Because my confidence didn't come from a business going absolutely gangbusters. It came from a series of 1,000 steps that were successful steps that got me to somewhere. So that first step, that decision, that starting point is not a scary thing for me. Scaling is, so that's a whole other story and something I'm still working through. But that starting point, that just takes repeated startings. Start something, you go, okay, cool, I can do this. You keep it growing, you go, yeah, I'm going to shut it down now. I don't get married to these businesses. I don't get, so obsessed with them. They're not my kids. They are just simply lines of business, revenue opportunities. So what you will often go through is this idea that you can't, you're not capable. You don't have the ability, but it's not that you're incapable. It's just that you're unfamiliar with this new little thing you're going through because your nervous system, those neural pathways inside your brain, they can't tell the difference between a real like existential threat or a fake one. Like a tiger chasing you through a forest is a genuine physical threat, but a pitch deck you have to create to present to investors is not an existential threat. It feels unfamiliar, yes, It feels like danger, absolutely, but it is not. That's because all the same neurochemicals get activated, all the same neural pathways, and that same person who structurally in our brain existed before we even could speak languages, that gets activated, and we feel that fear. But familiarity kills the fear. Remember, you take that first sales call, you had to call someone up and it was terrifying. But by about the 50th, it's so repetitious that you don't care anymore. Or you might have done that first webinar where you thought, oh my God, I could never do this. I could never do this. And by the 20th, you just go, oh my God, this is so easy. Confidence is exposure over time. Say that again. Confidence is exposure over time. You might think, well, I'm not that kind of business owner. I'm not that kind of leader. I'm not that kind of salesperson. I'm not technical enough. I'm not visible enough. But you have to add one word to that, which is yet. Not a natural leader yet. Not a salesperson yet. Not technical enough yet. Not visible enough yet. So change the sentence. I'm not confident on video yet. I'm not a strong negotiator yet. I'm not good at raising money yet. That yet is overridden by action. You take the action, and that yet starts to become, I am now confident on video. So waiting, though, lets you be permanently embedded in the yet, but you want to move on from the yet. And that only comes from action. So a bit of a practical framework, because I love a bloody good framework. Would I do it if I had full confidence in this? Is this aligned? Because if not, it may not be the path I'm meant to take. So take the first, smallest, least risky step, not the perfect step, the smallest step forward. So ask yourself, if I had full confidence, is this a yes? Should I do this? If it's a no, it might not be a path. If it's a yes, take a tiny step. Doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to even work. It just has to be a step. The 1% found a move. This is like the Uber people, the incredible people that seem to never be able to do anything wrong. They're not swinging their bat around to hit something that's going to go over the boundary line for a six. They build it in microdoses. So you watch this in cricket, right? If you've ever watched a game of cricket, you'll notice they don't go out swinging from the very first ball. What they do is get used to the way the bowler is doing their bowling, the way the pitch reacts, and looking for opportunities in the field. They don't go smash from that ball one unless they're playing T20 cricket, but in a test match, right? They don't smash the first thing that comes out. They get a feel for things. So instead of launching globally your product, launch it as 10 different users or 10 different towns or something like that. Or instead of raising $2 million, just put your pitch in front of 3 investors. Or instead of rebranding everything, test one new style of presenting yourself on one particular channel of social media. You don't have to go all in from the very first step. You just start. The cost of waiting for the right time, the right place, the right money to feel ready, it really is that for every month you wait, someone else is doing it. They've started. They've gone there. They've released it. They've learned it. They've built their proof. They've gone forward. They've completely moved past you. I work with someone right now who honestly never executes. And in the 7 years that they've been not executing, countless other people have done what it is they were planning to do, have released the book, have set up the courses, have got the consultations, have built a business. Now, this guy just still sits there obsessing about every little step. Momentum may compound. We're used to that. You get momentum, you get even more momentum. But hesitation and standing still also compounds because it makes it even harder to take that first step. Fear isn't telling you to stop, it's telling you to think. What it means is that, okay, I'm afraid to do this thing probably because it's at the edge of what I'm usually able to do. And a lot of us as founders, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, business owners who scale and try to scale their business up to more than it is right now, learn to interpret that fear very differently. It's not a stop sign, it's a compass. It's pointing to something, oh, that's going to be a little bit, I need to learn something there. Or, oh yeah, that's interesting. It's like a give way sign and not a stop sign. You look there, and if there's a semi-trailer coming at you, then you're going to give way to that. But if there's no semi-trailer coming at you, then you do go. So it's a give way sign, not a stop sign. You only have one direction, that's towards whatever it is you're going for. You can't go sideways for it. You can't go into more and more research or another podcast or another YouTube video or You just got to move towards it because that's the only way through it. So think about this. When you have a think about this later on, and screenshot this if you want to, or wait for Monday when I will release this video on YouTube and and the online guide for this as well. You'll have a chance to do the online guide at the end of this and do it in an interactive way as well. But think about that one decision you're avoiding right now. You can think about one I'm absolutely avoiding right now. Is I'm hesitating to open up an office presence in Perth because I don't have the revenue yet to support it. But part of me also knows I can't get that revenue unless I have the office in Perth with the person manning it to begin with. So for me, it's a hire and it's launching a business there. It's not a pivot, but it might be a difficult conversation. Now, ask if you had all the confidence in the world, would you hire that person, launch that business, pivot to another style of business, or have that difficult conversation that you've been putting off for 3 months? Because if the answer is yes, then it's just you feeling unfamiliar. And that unfamiliarity is solvable by doing the thing. But if the answer is no, you've just avoided doing something that you don't even want to do. Not because it's scary, but because you just don't want to. That's clarity. That's still a win. It's not a loss. It's not you being a coward. It's just saying, no, this is not really the thing I want to do. So what we do, we increase our exposure to things, which breaks down actions into little bite-sized pieces so we can repeat those actions faster. Instead of looking at it as a great big huge project that needs to be done, we only have to take the first step. And when we do that first step, we really reflect on the evidence it's giving us, which is either keep going or stop. The stop might be because it's wrong. The evidence that says keep going is probably saying, yes, this is the next. Let's go to step 2, step 3, step 257. The more times you repeat this, the more evidence you get. The more evidence you get, the more confidence you manage to attract. All those people that you look at as your heroes out there, they didn't start confident either. They were uncomfortable. They acted on it anyway. They built that momentum through evidence and they became confident. Not because they won every time, but because they won enough times or at least moved forward enough times to make this thing work. You're not waiting for confidence to happen to you. You're not necessarily waiting for the proof that you're not going to fail because that proof doesn't exist. No amount of the planning, the research, the YouTube videos, the business advisors, nothing like that is going to make you know that the proof that you won't fail. The only proof generator is the actions you take moving forward. You've just, as Nike says, just do it. You're not afraid because you're incapable. We said this before. You're afraid because this level of growth in your business is new. And new things, fortunately, become very normal very quickly. I spent a week and a half off the gym. I hadn't done a squat or a deadlift in a week and a half. And then I was a little bit like, a bit hesitant going back onto those weights again when I got back to the gym. But that new thing, as soon as I picked up, did that first deadlift, I went, yeah, keep going, do your set of 12. And then I did another set of 12 and another set of 12 and the fourth set of 12. And okay, well, maybe I can also do the shoulder lifts. And I did those as well because I did one thing and I did pretty well at it. Didn't break myself. So I was able to do the second thing, the third thing, the fourth thing. And now I'm back into the routine of morning gym. Ask yourself, if I had all the confidence in the world, would I still do this? And if yes, take the tiny step. Take that little step. You don't need confidence, you need evidence. And evidence only comes from action. If you want to continue this journey and sort of go back through what I talked about today in your own pace, that QR code and that web address at the bottom will lead you through to the free online guide that's in there that'll help you through that process.